Hi, I'm Ian Kluft. I took a time-lapse video of a bike ride around the waterfront in Portland, Oregon. Let me show you around. The ride started at Holladay Park in Portland's Lloyd district. Then I rode by the 11th Avenue light rail station. I took bike lanes for a few blocks to get to the Blumenauer Bridge, a bike pedestrian bridge over Interstate 84. This is a nice new bridge, only a few years old. Now down Northeast 7th Avenue and Couch Street, which turns into the entrance ramp for the Burnside Bridge over the Willamette River. Couple stoplights here, and a quick check of traffic to go around the SUV blocking the bike lane. And here's the Burnside Bridge, 100 years old. The city and county held a centennial celebration on the bridge at the end of May. Looking up and to the right, you can see the Portland, Oregon sign. You need to be on the Burnside Bridge for the best view of it. Now entering downtown Portland in the Old Town district. I made a couple right turns on 2nd and then Davis to get back to the waterfront. Here's the Tom McCall Waterfront Park, named for a former Oregon governor. This park stretches along the west side of the Willamette River through downtown Portland, offering recreational space and scenic views. Ahead is the steel bridge. From this direction, the trail goes on the lower deck of the bridge, next to freight rail tracks also used by Amtrak. I'll also go over the upper deck later in this ride. The trail on the east side of the Willamette River is the East Bank Esplanade, named for former Portland Mayor Vera Katz. I took a quick detour to show the Duckworth Memorial Dock, which was converted from a boat dock to a swim dock in 2020. I walked my bike through here. Now back to riding on the East Bank Esplanade, under the Burnside Bridge, which I rode over earlier entering downtown. The floating bike pedestrian path goes around the interchange of Interstates 5 and 84, where there was no room for a path on the riverbank. Coming up is the Morrison Bridge, and going under it. Now we're looking ahead at the Hawthorne Bridge, going through the central section of Portland's East Bank Esplanade. There are lots of benches for scenic views of the Willamette River across from downtown, and the river views from a bicycle are constantly changing. As I rode under Interstate 5, I exited the East Bank Esplanade for a look at OMSI, Oregon Museum of Science and Industry. It's a popular place, but quiet now since it had just closed for the day when I rode by. Across the street on the left side is the Oregon Rail Heritage Center, a railroad museum displaying vintage locomotives and rail cars, and here's the OMSI Southeast Water Light Rail Station. Now going over the Tilikum Crossing, indigenous language for Bridge of the People. It's a modern cable-stayed bridge, which is only for transit, bikes, and pedestrians. It opened in 2015 for the Max Orange Line extension. It also serves the Portland streetcar and transit buses. Now turning up along the South Waterfront Greenway Trail. This section opened in 2015 along with the Tilikum Crossing. There's a beach, marinas, and the west side river views. There's also a short River Place trail with restaurants overlooking the river. This is a short section where I had to detour around a temporary event venue where they were tearing down after the Waterfront Blues Festival. It had ended with the 4th of July fireworks. The bike path on Nadeau Parkway connects back to the Waterfront Park. When there isn't an event in the way, it's possible to proceed right up the waterfront. Now after going around the big loop, the ride returns to Tom McCall Waterfront Park. Depending on the time of day, this can be a very popular place for recreation, and also as a bicycle and pedestrian commute corridor. Because why would you take a different route when you can go along the river, right? The city originally planned a greenway here along the river, but in World War II a highway was built through here. In the late 60s, when Interstate 5 was built on the east side of the river, the highway here on the west side became obsolete and was demolished to build Waterfront Park. Here I turned to take the ramp to the upper deck of the steel bridge. Remember, I rode the lower deck of this bridge earlier. On the upper deck, the path is next to the roadway and Max light rail tracks. This Max Blue Line train on the left is the one I'd catch moments later for my ride home. Taking the upper deck of the steel bridge ends up on top of the bluff on the east side of the river. So the climbing is already done here. A turn onto Interstate Avenue, over to the Rose Quarter Transit Center, and it's the end of this ride. I hope you enjoyed this time-lapse tour of the Portland waterfront. While you got it in 6 minutes, it actually took 45 minutes.